And here we go, Paradox Diaries 5.5. This is keeping track, counting up so I can do better correlation with what's going on in my HRV. This one's for later. I'm gonna go ahead and do shaking. Gonna get into it, and then we'll talk a little bit about whatever is gonna be distracting me. Feet parallel, knees bent. Honestly, this is sort of like the gateway, this is the gateway to health right here. This is all you need. Just bounce in place. You know, if you need to use the wall or whatever, this really, really does a good job. You're using a little energy now to get back overall lower energy need. So if you're fatigued, you do this, it's going to wake you up a little bit. And the great thing about that is afterward, you'll probably be a little bit tingly because you're sort of clogging the unclogging the pipes in an actual sense. So imagine, if you can imagine like mycelia growing under the ground, your muscle fibers, your nervous system, it's all like that. It's, you know, if you go through it, you know, the fibers might be more straight in some places and more geometric in other places, but at the end of the day, there's some kind of progression and growth pattern, and it just sort of, it's a fractal expanse. And so if you visualize that fractal expanse, your brain right now, and actually all parts of your body are doing something like the following. So at your hands just on the surface, the Lao Gong right here where your middle finger touches. So it's traditionally taught as a source of qi. Okay, well, I'm going to suggest that maybe it's actually a source of high entry as opposed to exit. There's a lot of nerve endings here, and there's actually a slight amount of pressure, electrical magnetic pressure, I suspect, coming off the skin, and it's doing a probe. And that probe is trying to determine if it needs more or less attention. So there's a base level of attention or attention. I think those are the same thing in this context. And the amount is based on what's going on. So if it starts to get hot, it's going to send more information back so that you get better feedback, so maybe you pull back faster. So notice, it's a constant probe, and then it gets harder and harder or softer and softer depending on what's going on. So that's just how the body works. As the body gets fatigued, the signals get messed up, things get kind of clogged up, things just sort of just don't flow very well, right? So this right here, what I'm doing is going to sort of unclog the system. It's just, when people say this is going to help your chi, what that really means is the electrical signals, the fibers in your body just get all discombobulated, and it's kind of going to reset. This is going to turn everything down because it's going to sort of knock everything back to place. If you've ever seen that example, there's an example that shows like a box of random nails, and it says something about the law of thermodynamics where it's like, no closed system, blah, blah, blah. And then they shake the box of nails and the nails get aligned. So we're doing that. However, two problems with that. One, it's not a closed system because he's part of the closed system shaking the box. So with all due respect, there's energy going into the system. Two, by emptiness, there's no such thing as a closed system. A closed system is an idealized model that does not exist, right? So closed systems don't exist. Neither do open systems. But if models describing systems that have those characteristics are of value to you to predict or to guess how something might happen for some kind of use, then they're great to use, right? So go for it. Remember, there is no gravity. I'm waiting for someone to actually watch one of these and just hear me say that. And this, I'm not going to say the Earth is flat. Well, I just did, but I don't think it is. But I will say the shape of the Earth is empty. The Earth is empty. So, and of course, if someone doesn't understand what I mean by empty, because empty is itself empty. So let me say that in another way. All words are proximate descriptions of things. Specifically, whatever word we can talk about, you have a bunch of experiences related to that word. I have a bunch of experiences related to that word. They're not the same. So your interpretation of that word is different than mine. We actually have a relationship in that we probably have enough common understanding that when we use that word, we can probably have enough agreement about something. And really what it gets down to is the words are placeholders. And if you can identify the unique things in a discussion and then the relationships of those things, the words become less important. And also, if you can do that, then you can take that shape and those number of things in those shapes and then plot them into a different domain. So, and that's just lateral thinking. Looking at the numbers and relationships of things, and then recognizing common shapes, maybe subshapes, and infinite fractal expanse, and then using that to describe a different thing. So I'm refactoring my body, or I'm doing signal processing on my body by shaking. Same thing. Now, why does this really do what it does? So in my interpretation, and of course, again, everything is empty. So I'm just, this is my current working understanding, and it seems to work for me because I'm getting pretty good results. That is, I'm feeling better, I have more energy, more concentration. So it's working, even if it's wrong, and by definition, because it's a model, it's wrong. It's still sufficient for what I'm trying to do. So our body is filled with all of these complex systems. Right? A cell is a world. You can open up a cell. So in the cells, you have mitochondrial DNA, and mitochondrial DNA has positions based on excitation, and also there might be myelination in the cell that would actually compress or change the shape of the DNA, because the pointers into the programs that the cells run are fixed, but the shape of the DNA changes based on conditions. And that could be either a chemical change or it could be epigenetic change, et cetera. So notice there's this bidirectional thing. There's like a double-sided governor. And if you go with it, if you stay within a range, everything's good. If you go one way, maybe it turns things down. If you go another way, it turns things up. If you do enough of that turn things up, then there's a ratchet. Maybe there's a chemical change in your body. All right, great. If that chemical change is there for a long time and it keeps going for a long time, then eventually ratchet up. And now you've got some kind of maybe short-term epigenetic expression that might not last very long. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And so there's a lot of sophisticated responses. And the level of sophistication is sort of related to how complex the system is and the ways in which it can respond. So I've just described like 0% of an idea about the cells. This whole thing is repeated. So let's talk about that probe again. We had the hand coming out. Well, okay, do you know that your cheekbones, there's muscles here, right? And if you're really calm, you can sometimes feel the electrical signals down to your cheekbones, and you can see the brain. What the brain is doing is the brain is sending out a probe and saying, hey, is this a social gathering? Hey, is anything going on where I have to have some kind of look? And what happens is it doesn't notice any pushback from the environment, my eyes, my breathing, and so on. And so what happens, it turns down. It's like, oh, well, I don't need to keep these cheeks engaged, so my muscles relax. So this shaking is basically a mechanical version of your body doing that. And it just so happens that because we're doing something that is coherent with what our body does, that's why it works so well. Our body is a bunch of interacting waves in a medium. And the medium modifies the response. Because right now, my brain is moving up and down. That means there's just a little bit jiggle, literally, in my head. And that's changing the shape of my brain just a little. But when you say just a little, what is it? 1 billion neurons? 1,000 connections times 1 billion neurons. So that's what? That's a trillion. That seems too low, but let's say it's 2.7 trillion. That number just comes to mind. So, 2.7 trillion in this three-dimensional space, I don't think there's a lot of room there. I would argue that the amount of room there is similar to the amount of room in an individual atom or anywhere else, just because as above, so below, the recursive fractal, bidirectional fractal nature of everything. I'm getting a really good rhythm right now. I did this earlier today as well. I did a full session at lunchtime just to see what would happen, and I got some good response back, but I also did a lot more energetic work. I did some planks and such. And so what's happening is I'm going to reset my body and I'm using more energy. But when I stop doing this, then I get an immediate, actually pretty immediate, like within seconds to maybe a minute, a huge HRV bounce, like something like, oftentimes, 13x sometimes, it's huge. And now that's not sustained. But in fact, I also find that I've been doing semi-deep flexibility for a while, and as a result, my body knows what I'm about to do. So when I'm about to go into a front split, I'm preparing myself. I'm doing some breath work. I'm moving my body in a particular way, and the body adjusts to what you get used to. So as I start doing the stretch, last night when I did the stretch, it just relaxed. And as it relaxed, my HRV did the following. So my HRV was about here. It went whoop. So I was actually dual activated my sympathetic and parasympathetic system. And then it came back down as I went in, as my body relaxed, I came back down and it maintained a higher, under distress, it maintained a higher HRV than when I started. And so the shaking loosens up the body. It gets all the systems in ready to go. And so this is really why I like this. It doesn't matter what you're going to do next. You can do this and then go jogging. Right? This is like a universal thing. Absolutely add stuff that you love to do on top of it. But if you do this first, you might just find that you're just looser all over. You also might find if you do it before bed that you don't have to, that you sleep better. That's my experience. Okay. God, I'm going to go a little bit longer because this is really good. I've got a really good rhythm right now. I'm not sure what that's, I'm not forcing it. I'm not forcing it. Of course, now I'm thinking about it and I lost it. Now, there are different modes of communication. So we talked about epigenetics. Epigenetics is myelination. It actually changes the shape of the DNA. That's a kind of communication or protocol, whatever you want to say it. Really, here's the thing. It changes the shape. And when the shape changes, the relationship changes, right? That's, if we go all the way back to the very beginning, before the Paradox Diaries, I was working through sort of my understanding of things. And I was arguing with AI about the notion that in information theory, information is the core of everything. Well, okay, great, but how does that information, do anything? It's like, well, there's the hardware and then the information. Well, okay, you got a duality, baloney. So that's where I got to shapes. Now, shape, it's all metaphors, it's all empty. But a shape, you can just intuitively say a circle interacts with a triangle different than I don't know, headphones match with a boxing thing. So different shapes interact in different ways. And if a shape changes, then it has different interactions, right? So my brain is changing right now. Now, it's not a lot of change, but it's a little bit of change. And so this is actually loosening up anything that's sort of going on in the brain. And when I say loosening up, it's biochemical, it's visceral. So this is making everything move good. Okay, let's see. I'm tingling all in my front. Oh yeah, I'm nice and relaxed. Yeah, this is good. This is very good. Okay, now my plan is to practice a little bit of Tai Chi tonight, and then I may or may not stretch. Chest, you're right there. So I'm going to do a little bit of the Yang family style form as I do it. This is going to be in a limited space, very limited. So I'm going to basically be doing it in place, but it doesn't matter. What I'm looking for is slow, controlled movement and breath work, and I'm going to synchronize my breath with my movement. Okay, I'm going to talk through this a little bit, and then I'm going to stop talking and actually do. So I'm going to start in Wu Qi. Wu Qi is before Tai Chi. Wu Qi is the lack of distinction, the singularity, no yin, no yang, full balance. Tai Chi is the grand ultimate or the balance of yin and yang. But really what it is as energy comes in, you take it and give it back. So it's about flow, right? It's like your brain is going out and doing a probe on your cheekbones, and then it gets back information. Do I need more or do I need less? And that's what Tai Chi is. So here we go. So I'm going to stay here for just a second working on Wu Qi. And I'm going to try to relax my sacrum so that I feel a little more weight in my heels. Push my head up, fontanelle. Then I'm going to medially or internally rotate my hands to loosen the ligamentures on the inside so I can relax my sternum down and maybe get my pelvic floor engaged. It's not there, but it's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to start with that. Input, someone's coming at me. Significance, I'm going to move. I don't think that's, I was doing the satiric interaction model. I'm not going to do that. So an empty step, I'm moving my right foot because all the weight's on my left foot. I grab an incoming arm, fascial grab, superficial fascial grab, protect my groin, step up into a cat stance. Now at here, what the idea is the person has come in, I got out of the way, I'm pulling them, they're going to respond by pulling back, and then I avoid the kitty by taking a shallow step, and then I ward off. Now I've got an attack coming from that side, so I retreat so that I'm out of the way of the punch. And then I turn my body, empty step, left foot, all my weight's on my right foot, grab an incoming fist, protect the groin, cat stance. And now I'll do the grasp tail, sparrow's tail sequence. Now again, pull, step, empty, and then I start doing a figure eight with my feet. So now my weight's going across my right foot toes, coming down the outside of the right foot to the heel. Grab elbow, grab arm. I'm going to slide my weight over to the ball of my left foot around the toes. As I get to the outside into the heel, I'm going to then press. Now I'm going from heel, ball of foot, press. And then as I express that, I'm going to slide the weight across my toes on the right foot. I'm going to come back down the side of the right foot to the heel, heel to ball of foot across the toes, toes around the outside of the left foot, and then I'm going to press to center. Now, something I want to show you right here. Do not lean forward. You're off balance when I come back. You want to try standing walking tree. I want to keep my torso erect. If I lean forward, I'm giving you my weight and you can easily pull me. Okay, so from here, I'm going to retreat. Someone's coming from over here. Sun's going to cross the sky, grabbing an incoming punch, fascial grab, protect the groin. Now this is an idealized version. I'm going to do 180 degrees here. So I'm going to grab a tea bag. That's a fascial grab. And I'm going to push with my right foot into my left foot, clear, set the right foot down, and then I'm going to press with my right foot into my hips. My hips will make my shoulders move, and then at the end, maybe I'll push my hand a little bit. Someone comes in from the front, I retreat. Grab the arm. Now, I'm going to add balance to this just because I like to add balance. I'm a little off, though. I'm a little bit, let's see, I'm a little bit off. Yeah, that's okay. If not good. Okay. Grab an incoming punch, elbow, pull through, step on their sternum, push, over. Now I'm going to stork spreads wings. I'm going to clear up into a cat stance. Now again, I can do a balance thing here. This is just because I'm trying to do exercise as opposed to doing the form. Cut, clear. Ooh, that's a nice twist right there. Hits that spot on my back that I have referred to as Alice for better proprioceptive identification. So just grab the incoming punch and now I'm going to brush knee. Press into the sternum. Again, grab an incoming punch. I'm going to step back a little bit to get more to here. Play the lute. Again, balance. And I lost it. There, do that. Brush knee again. Normally I would go forward, but since I've got limited space, I'll step backwards instead. Cat stance. Again, I'm grabbing someone punching at me, pulling on the fascia. And then I'm going to empty step. So notice, empty step, there's no weight. And then I shift my weight, push their arm, press into their breastbone. And then I'll go ahead and go one more step backwards, grab a punch. This is protected. And then empty step, press their arm back, sternum press, simulate another arm grab, play a lute. I'm going to do this maybe as a kick. One more brush knee. And then step outside, deflect downward, parry and punch. I'm gripping with my toes right now. So when I talk about dorsiflexion and getting strength to your toes, I'm using that right now. Same thing, I'm gripping with my toes. Clear a grip. That hand stays. Step up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start the second part. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go until. Again, toe grip. Okay, I'm going to describe this from here. All right, right now, my weight as I reach my hands out is centered. Look where my torso is. My weight's directly over the middle. And now I'm pushing with my right foot, the front foot, into my back foot. And I'm settling down into that hip. Notice I'm lowering my left butt cheek, gripping with my toes. My weight's now off my front foot, and I can lift it however I choose. Now, this is a balance thing. The actual move is more like this. But I want to work on my balance. And now I've lost it. There we go. So again, I push off the palm as I go under, just under the solar plexus, or just at the solar plexus level, the mid-dantian. This is fissile bone pushing into somebody's chest, say. As I reach out, I twist, balance, turn back, watch the foot. I'm going to actually both turn my weights now here, rotate so that my hips are now more forward. Now my weight's on my back leg, so I can do whatever I want. And then I can, and I can lose my balance, and then I can press back. I think I've done enough of those. What's up, kitty? Is that right? Come on in. Of course, I'll probably lose my spot talking to you, but that's fine. Okay, I'm going to go back to the form, okay? Let's see, single whip. And then here. Ah, yes. close to the wall here. And Kitty, you are in the way. That's fine. I'll work with what I got. Get away from the wall. Moon is passed. All right, well, that's enough of that. Do some stretching now. Let's see, do I want to do... No, I'm going to start here. Oh, that's a bit much. That's a bit fast. Too much. I have to come down a little bit. not quite ready for that. Actually, my arches are being a bit abused. That's good enough on that one. Okay. Do I want to do this? Nope, I do not want to do this without a pillow. That'll do. While I'm at it, I'll do that. And I don't think I need that. So I'm bending my knee here a little bit. That's going to move the stretch into the muscle belly. I'll take it out eventually, but I get a deeper stretch this way, actually. Sometimes things are a little bit counterintuitive. Something that is counterintuitive, for example, if you want to do a back bend, stretch your front and vice versa. So if you have trouble bending your back, think about what happens when you sit all day long. You shorten the front of your body. I didn't turn this timer on, did I? And so you shorten the front of your body, and you think, well, not really. No, you really actually do. Your muscle fibers get shorter because it's more efficient for the body. The body adjusts to what you do. Now, what you can do is diversity. Get up every so often. Don't sit all day long. Move your body. Walk your dogs. Do housework. But also, stretch. If you want a whole series of stretches to help with your back, go to my blog. I've got one. I've got a couple different ones. Notice I'm completely supporting my lower back so I don't do anything until it gets back to a neutral position, and then I'm going to go in the opposite direction just a touch. Okay, next side, same thing. Now this side, I find a little bit of a brick helps for balance for me. So, play with props so you don't have to concentrate on the balance. Right now, buddy. Once again, not using my back at all to come out of this because I've stretched it quite a bit. Get back to upright. I'm okay here, but if I do just a little bit of opening up my chest and pushing myself forward a little bit. Oh, yeah, it feels good right there. Okay. Now, I'm really tired, and I know why. I have this thing in theta meditation mode. I do not have it in vagus nerve stimulation mode, and it's knocking me out. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the flow. All right, I'm going to do pigeon. I think that's going to be it for tonight after I do pigeon. Do I want to do double pigeon? No, just do regular pigeon. Now, I'm going to need this for my left foot, so I'll use it here as well. I'm just going to do a resting pigeon tonight, I think. Okay, I did start the timer. I could do the left side longer, I think, because it's not as stretchy. Maybe, we'll see. I've got it set for a minute longer. We'll see if I do it a minute longer. No. Well, I'm not sure how long I went, but that's good enough. Ooh, that's good. All right. Ooh, yeah, that was good. Hammered the left side a little bit more, maybe just a few seconds of sitting. Then I'm going to do a little more shaking, and I'm going to call it. Oof, man, I'm tired and a bit dizzy from that. Here we go. Just a little more shaking with myself, just a touch. No, been going too long. Yeah, my body's nice and loose. Good night. Just a few more minutes, Mr. Chesh. Man, I could almost do this. Nope, not close. Not even close.